And welcome back to the Basil Breen Boombox. I'm here with my very special guest, Daniel Freeman, aka the Buddha Barber, is what I came up with. I've met this man out on the scene, and I actually met you, I think, one of my first Smithfield creatives, and you did this kind of group activity that we'll get into in a little bit, but it was very had a massive impact on me. But I don't know how to describe what it is that you do or the path that you're on.
Yeah.
So I wonder, how would you best describe
My path?
Yes, or what it is, that the entity that is Daniel Freeman, like what's he at?
Cool.
How far do we go, like into the metaverse?
Yeah, so my path started probably 3 years ago. I hit rock bottom.
Wow.
I was at the lowest of the low, so I couldn't go any further.
Yes.
I was at that.
How do you know? Like, it's funny because people might think they're down.
Yeah.
But then there is rock bottom. There actually is.
There is rock bottom.
There is, but sometimes you don't know. There's more to go, unfortunately.
Being at rock bottom would teach you things that mountaintops can't.
Yes.
And that is honestly the truth.
Jesus Christ.
That is honestly the truth.
Wow.
Like, I've been high. I had a really successful business.
Yes.
And a phase of things happened, and then I just hit multiple addictions.
Yes.
And then COVID happened, and then my whole life savings covered my 2 years of COVID, and ended up moving to Ireland with 50 quid to my name.
Oh my God.
So I hit rock bottom, and I had to start all over again. And then that is when my spiritual journey started.
What? I didn't know this was part of the backstory.
Yeah.
Hold on, that's amazing. So
Yeah.
you moved to Ireland
Yeah.
with just 50 quid after
Yeah.
hitting this rock bottom, let's
Yeah.
say. And then take us from there then. Well, how, like...
So basically, I have a daughter here.
Yes.
She's 12. She's my absolute world. She's my hero, you know. Without her and her family, I probably wouldn't be here today.
Wow.
That's honestly the truth.
Yes.
And then when I moved here, well, I started meditating before I moved here. I don't know what led me to it. It was like my higher self just came through and was like, no, start leaning into yourself and sitting with yourself and dealing with your feelings and emotions. So I did. So I led into meditation, started with, what's it called? Guided meditations and everything else. And then by the time I actually got to a certain stage, when I actually moved here, it was like this whole world opened up, this light just shifted over my body. And then I found out who my archangel was, which is Raphael. And he's the heart.
Not the turtle.
No.
Shout out to my Ninja Turtle fans. No, yes.
And he's the heart chakra, which is the green healing light, which is the emeralds. I just moved to the Emerald Isle. So it's mad how all of that, just that little part there, was all connected for me being here. So it's like I'm meant to be here for a reason.
Yes.
So that's another thing that led me to Ireland as well. And obviously Ireland being green, and I like to call Ireland the heart chakra of the world, because everyone loves islands.
So what, like, how did you become open to the spiritual world or spiritual realm?
When I look back on my life, obviously growing up around a Catholic school and Catholic schooling, it's like my attention has always kind of grabbed onto spiritual things, but out of fear, I didn't lean into it because we're always afraid of everyone else's opinions of us and opinions of ourselves. So I kept myself away from it. And then when I actually look back on it as well, most of my tattoos that I all have a spiritual connection. But I didn't get them because of spirituality.
Yes.
I got them because I liked them.
Interesting.
So then when my journey started, it was just, everything's just connected. It's mad.
It all just came together in a way.
It's mad. And then a lot of people have a spiritual awakenings, but then they stay stagnant.
Yes.
Because there's another side. There's the dark side. That's the healing journey. That's where you have to scan your whole life and start from the very beginning of where you started self-sabotaging.
Yes.
Where you leant into alcohol. Because at first we lean into alcohol as just a joke and a laugh with our mates. And then it becomes running away from our feelings and emotions after traumas and everything else and heartbreaks and everything that we go through. We store it. We don't sit there and think about it and sit with our feelings and emotions and release it. We hold it in because we don't talk about our feelings and emotions.
Yes.
So then all of a sudden, and over years and years of time, we get build up, and then that. So where I'm at now, my healing journey is to help people on their healing journeys, so they don't have to go to rock bottom. They can start their healing journeys and everything now and release them feelings and emotions
Yes.
to excel in a better life and better relationships.
Interest. So, do you remember kind of what was the trigger? Because, as we're saying, with this, with anything esoteric or on the fringe of ideas, people are so easy to sort of scoff, and they're not. What I've embodied is I am radically open minded. I can't really describe how open minded I am.
Yeah.
Like I try to let everything in.
Yeah, of
and if
course.
there's a blocker, if I'm pushing away at something, I just say, hang on.
Yeah.
Let's just let it in and discuss it and play with the idea, because why push any ideas out before you've even given them the chance to kind of come into you?
Of course.
So I am super open-minded, but I'm also very skeptical as well. But I'm open to be convinced of basically anything.
Of course.
And I don't kind of begrudge anybody for thinking any kind of particular thought pattern, because I'm just thinking, oh, well, they just came through life and now they're thinking this as well. The most important thing for me is being open-minded. So I want to, just for the listener, because I think when you hear information, you're sometimes, and even when you see the worst like people in like YouTube comments or anything where there's discourse and there's sides, or there's you're thinking this way, I'm thinking this way, science versus spirituality. It's all versus, where it's not really versus. It's all like, let's all let it in and let's discuss these ideas.
Yeah.
But just for you then, because you were saying that the spiritual life or the spiritual realm wasn't something that you even were aware of. And then, so like, when did you notice that there was a fundamental shift in your sort of, let's say, your consciousness or your thoughts?
Yeah, expanded consciousness. So I suppose it is part of my healing journey. It was kind of like through meditations I had epiphanies. You know, it's like my higher self was telling me stories about other things. And then it's like, when you look at, no matter what aspect you go to, whether it's a religion based or it's a spiritual based or it's quantum based, all words sound different, but they're actually the same meaning. So when you say higher self, or you say the gods within you, or you say love, frequency of love, it's exactly the same meaning. It's just different terminologies or different aspects. And that was a part of my journey. You're a spiritual being. Spirituality is just you. That is your inside.
Yes.
Spirituality was first before anything. Before we learned any kind of subject or anything like that, you go back as far as you can. And that was the first thing as Indigenes all did, was spiritual. We was all connected to the mother. We was all connected to source. And as we've evolved through time and everything else, we've gone through schooling and everything else, because it's all control.
Yes, one thing I just want to touch on is that we have before the Industrial Revolution, the Scientific Revolution, we were very much more within, as in our subjective experience. We used to value that more, let's say, than we do now. Now it's all ones and zeros, has to be proved, has to be experimentally proved, has to be this or that. And if it can't be kind of quantified in the materialist paradigm, we throw it away. And it's a shame. And you can see now there is kind of like a spiritual revival, or just people.
There's a war.
But I just want
to
touch
war
on
on consciousness.
Yes, hold on, wait, we'll get into the good stuff in a minute, right? But I'm trying to ground this for myself, is that the subjective world of your own experience and what you witness and how you feel, as we're alive in this incarnation, in this life, in this reality, and psychedelics have shown me as well that just what if you took your first person subjective experience as valid input information to how you view the world, and not like that changes things for me. So I like let's say, for example, when you say things like higher self, so I have things like, intuition. Like let's say we ground it in some other terminology, so intuition, your gut feeling. Or if you like the idea of prayer, right? Let's just think about this for a sec, right? So I have a question. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Like, what should I do? And if I ask that with enough intention, I'll get an answer. Like, I don't know where the answer comes from. Like, we could say that it's a higher being, or it's just in my brain, or wherever it is. If you sit there and pray, right? Let us do it, right? Don't be afraid. And ask, what should I do with my life? You'll get loads of fucking answers, and you'll be able to take action. So there's actual things like not like, and this is where my I don't know where things come from, but I know that there's things that I can do that would instigate certain experiences for me. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So that prayer is like one
Yeah,
of them.
yeah,
So, but just going back to so the idea of the higher self is really interesting, because when I think of this, so I had a kind of I keep referring to it as a schizophrenic kind of break, right? But just over Christmas.
Yeah.
But now I'm seeing it more like a spiritual awakening, where
Yeah.
I had this. I was thinking very deeply about my purpose in life, and I was watching this speech by Jordan Peterson he gives about God, and
Yeah.
God is the high. So imagine God is the highest ideal for you, right? So
Yeah.
imagine as you stand here right now, if you took every step, every best step for you,
Yeah.
what is the end result, right? And that is the ideal. That's the ideal version of you. So that's the God, right?
Yeah.
Let's just say that's his version of God.
Yeah.
And so I started thinking real deeply about this, and I was thinking too. And I was no drugs, no anything, and I felt I separated out from the entity that is like Basil Breen, let's say.
Yeah.
And I was because I knew the self, all this stuff was theoretical, let's say.
Yeah.
But it was very destabilizing. I was actually very scared that I wasn't. That I was like I felt like an alien to my own experience.
Of course,
in a way, and it took me. I'm able to talk about it a bit now, but I went through a few weeks where I was very destabilized. Like where I was scared to think about it because I was afraid I was going to actually lose my mind. In a way.
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah.
But now I've kind of digested it, and I'm come to terms with it, and I'm more comfortable now in my body once again.
Yeah.
But it can be very these kind of awakenings or these moments in our lives, they can be very destabilizing. I found.
Of course.
Have you found anything in a similar vein?
100%, because when we look at media and social media and people have had spiritual awakenings, it's all sunshines and rainbows. And you look at that and you think, well, hang on a minute, I've just hit the darkest patch of my life. And it's like, what's going on?
Yes.
But that is part of your healing journey. You know, you got to think, when we're before the age of 7, we are not conditioned. We don't know. We know love. That's all we know. We love everything. We love everyone. We're just kids enjoying life, and we don't even know what we look like or care what we look like. But as soon as we go to school and everything else, our brains start getting conditioned to believe or to disbelieve ourselves.
Yes.
Because we're focusing on everything else. And then when it comes to leaving school and adulthood and everything else, we don't know who we are anymore. We've lost touch of who we actually are as kids. And in that 5D consciousness state, we're born in 5D consciousness state, with that heaven to earth, with the love for all and love for ourselves. But then as soon as we get some conditions, we lose that. So spirituality, for me personally, is about unlearning everything that we have been taught and finding out your true authentic self and what you truly want.
Yes.
Because even though I was successful in my past life, they were all wants of other people. They weren't actually wants that I wanted. They were wants of my parents, they were wants of my friends.
Yes.
And then when I actually lost it all, and I was gutted that I lost it all, but at the same time I'm grateful for it because I never actually wanted that.
Yes.
And now I'm actually doing things that I want to do for myself, for my true inner self. You know, that's another thing. We all get stuck on one path, but we have multiple paths.
Yes.
And there's so many different journeys that we can all take, which will all lead us back to the same point, and that is that we are one.
Yes, that's the fundamental.
Exactly.
So just so much.
Everything that's out there, again, it keeps us all divided.
Yes, because there's so many rabbit holes.
So many rabbit holes.
This is so just on the one of the oneness, right? So I accidentally. I was doing some acid, right? And I thought it was I'd only done it once or twice before this.
Yeah.
So I thought it was going to be a similar dose, let's say.
Yeah.
It was manageable.
Yeah.
But whatever this dose was, it was like a high dose.
Yeah.
Compared to for my physiology anyway.
Yeah.
And I went into it was a very profound experience, but I got a sense of what it's like when your brain loses all categories.
Yeah.
So when there's no lines between objects or ideas in your brain, everything actually does become one.
Yeah.
And I got a sense of, from my experience, it felt like what the infinite is. Because like for me, infinity is just it's a boundless. There's no boundaries to
infinite potential.
And me and you and the separation.
Yeah.
I lost all that in a way, and it was very overwhelming, and it was very interesting because I went to try explain it.
Yeah.
But this is the only way I can describe it. This is going to sound stupid.
No, not at all.
the way every time I went to write about it, it became the thing I was writing about. So I could never actually get at it.
Yeah.
So as I was getting close. I couldn't ever get to it because
Yeah.
the thing was the thing.
Yeah.
Because I actually wasn't writing about anything because it was all just one. Right.
Yeah,
Now that
yeah.
sounds a bit fucked
No,
up.
not at all,
right?
not at all. I'll explain something in a second.
Yeah, please. No, you jump in now. Then.
Yeah, so I had a similar experience. I went on mushrooms.
Yes.
And I went through this psychedelic phase. And the first time I done them I was on the right path. And then the second time I done them was a complete. I took them, I done a meditation. As I come out of meditation, I didn't know who I was.
Yes.
I was looking around the room, I didn't know where I was. I was looking at a picture of my daughter, I was like, who's that?
Oh,
and that's when I got scared. I was like, fuck, what's going on here? And I had to keep saying to myself, I am. So that I am, the two most powerful words that we can all use just for positivity. Like
Yes.
we use it on a daily basis as it is, but we always use it in negative concepts. It's like, oh, I'm having a shit day.
Yes.
So we have a shit day.
I'm tired.
It's all, we're always putting negative shit into our subconscious mind instead of positive because we live in a negative world. Everything that's put in front of us is negative. So we're always kept in that concept of negativity.
This is actually an interesting idea. Just on, I wonder if this ties in with people not willing to like believe in themselves, or they feel embarrassed to brag about themselves, or to, because let's say people don't want to be oh, look at me on this great thing, whatever. Oh, I'm not that good, or I'm okay.
But that's a course of personal experiences from friends. And then you just say, like, if you went to your friends and say, like, I'm going to do this, and straight away they'd be like, oh, no, you can't do that.
Oh, what are you doing now?
So straight away, it's stuck in your head.
Yeah.
And it's a concept. So that's why anything we want to achieve personally in our lives, the best off thing for what you want to do is just not tell anyone. And just do it.
Yes, that is.
Because as soon as we go to someone else and we get a negative opinion, and then we get opinion, it just sticks to your mind, and you're like, oh no, you sit in fear again.
Yes.
We're in fear again of ourselves. Yeah. That's it. We're not in fear of other things. We are in fear of ourselves. And when you get to a spiritual stage where you realise that everything is mirrored, energy is mirrored. So the energy you give, you get back.
Yes.
And the same as feelings and emotions, and the same as even conversations, it's everything is mirrored. It's like, I've had conversations with people and it's like they're speaking. It's like I'm speaking through them. Yeah. It's like you're speaking through me.
Yes.
It's weird, but it's magical at the same time.
Yes. If you touch just
and that's just through consciousness.
There's got to be an infinite amount of rabbit holes, but because you're touching on so many great points. Just on what you are going to be a product of the people that you, let's say, hang around with the most, let's say, or the people that you let into your mind.
Yeah.
And that might just be because you lived a life and you're unaware, like you're saying, we're unaware that certain friend groups or certain negative patterns have emerged.
Yeah.
But first you have to kind of build that awareness. But I'll just say that if someone ever comes to you and says, I'm thinking about doing this, you want to, in improv, they have this idea of yes and. So in improv, like if they're doing a joke, it's like, oh, I came into here and I'm looking for a hat. Yes, and we got this hat, but it's 3 sizes too large. So they'll keep it going, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Because otherwise, someone goes, I'm looking for a hat, and I go, there's no hats here. Yeah. And then that's it, right? That's it. I could end it, and then but that's not fun.
No.
So if someone comes to you with something, you can let them figure. Maybe it's something you might think is ridiculous, but then you can say, oh, hang on, all right. What about we look at it this way? Maybe there's other ways to look at things.
100%.
Like it's not just because I want to go to the moon. Maybe that's a call for adventure. It doesn't have to be the moon. Maybe it could be. And up to Donegal or something. We don't know that. But if I come to you and say the moon, you go, that's stupid. Why would you ever want to do anything like that? In a way, but it's like, the moon is probably a bit out of the way, but what about that call to adventure? Let's explore that together. In a way. But anyway.
Well, life is an adventure.
Yes.
That's a big thing about, I think, a spiritual journey is finding the true love for yourself from the inside out. Not from the outside. You see so many people that say that they love themselves, but then we look at it and we've seen so many people, famous people, that we think are happy and they've got everything going for them, and look where they're at. They've ended up taking their own lives.
Yes.
So we think people are happy, but because we put on this facade and this fake emotion and feeling in front of people to try and get them to see something that's there when it really ain't.
Yes.
As I said, you'll go home, we're put on this act, and we go home, because we don't love ourselves, we sit there depressed out of our face, anxious to fuck, And we're trying to,
So it's
again,
not
we're trying to find something that isn't there.
Yes.
So that's the only thing, that's what spirituality is to me, is finding your true self.
Yes.
Your true inner self and the love for yourself. Because if you have love for yourself, then you have love for others and you have love for all.
This is so beautiful, and this is only something that I've always kind of had in my heart a little bit, these ideas, but I remember I seen something you post, and I had this experience before I seen the post. It was very recent, but it was something to do with the mirror, looking at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
And I had this experience where I was looking at myself in the mirror, and I was looking into my eyes, and I could see me, but I could see me the way maybe you might see me as a person.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I was like, I love you. I said to myself out loud. I was like,
self-talk.
Exactly. And I was like, I'm going to look after you. And I was such a powerful, and it's even filling me with energy now.
But you get that mirror, it's like you're saying it, but it's like you're not saying it. It's like that person in the mirror is saying it to you.
Yes!
And it's like you don't even realise you're actually saying it. And it's like you're looking in the mirror, you're telling yourself these positive affirmations, like you're beautiful, you're loved, you're safe, and you're free. And it's like you know the film The Matrix.
Yes.
You know where Keanu Reeves is staring at the spoon and the spoon bends.
Yes.
The spoon isn't actually bending, he's bending, but the spoon's bending with him.
Oh, yes.
It's exactly the same as that mirrored version of yourself. It's like you're saying it, but it's like the other person on the other side of that mirror is saying what you're saying.
Yes.
It's mad and it's magical.
It
magical.
It really was magical. Actually magical.
That's when you start believing yourself.
Yes. And you can believe in yourself.
Exactly.
And the other thing you touched on is just being your true self. So like when this is what I found. When my happiest I've been, I'd say. Now I've always been kind of happy in a way.
Yeah.
I've never been kind of down. I've had down moments.
Yeah, of course, we all have, yeah.
I've always been like happy with what I'm doing, but this last year, because I've been doing the music full time and I came out as a musician, let's say, because I was always very because let's say I came to the music stuff a bit later, I was very embarrassed about it. That's the only way I can describe it. Oh, I'm going to do this thing now. It's way different than what everyone else thought I was going to be doing. And I'm singing, I'm writing songs, and I wasn't that guy, right?
Same.
So
same as what I'm doing.
Exactly. So
like you could speak to people that know me from back home, right?
What the fuck?
What I do now with the videos and everything else, they know for a fact I wouldn't say boo to a goose 3 years ago.
Yes.
I wouldn't do stories on Instagram and stuff
you
like that.
You wouldn't be here doing a podcast.
Trying to raise everyone's vibration or doing a podcast, do you know what I mean? Because that was part of my journey.
Wow. And but that's what I mean. So now that I've been, now that I can be forthright with who I am and what I'm trying to, with this podcast as well, I'm trying to, like, whatever you might think of whatever I'm doing here, I'm trying to be as honest as possible.
100%.
Like, as much as I can be. And I analyse myself and I'm looking for lies. I'm looking to see if am I being honest with what I'm saying? Or am I just saying it because
that's where the mirrored version comes back in.
Yes, exactly.
If you're being true and honest to yourself, then you're being true and honest to me.
Yes. And if you're true and honest about who you are, then there's no real, when you go home and you're going to bed, like you can sleep and you don't think about, I'm portraying this, I'm not trying to portray anything actually. No. I'm just trying to live the best life.
But that's where it comes back to, no matter what journey we go on when we find ourselves, it's all about service.
Yes.
Service to others, no matter what we do.
Yes.
I mean, your music, you're generating your own kind of love out there for love that you love. And people are listening to it and relating to it and everything else. And the same as what I'm doing. What I post and everything else, even I don't post it and aim it at anyone. It is literally me talking to myself. I watch my videos back 20,000 times a day.
Yes.
I'm just like, fuck hell, is that really me saying that?
Yes.
Because it's like, I don't know, it's like, what? It's like, I know the old me and I'm still stepping into the new me of self-discovery. So when I look back at them, I'm like, oh, wow, like I've actually just said that.
I know.
It's mad. It's like another different person. As I said, that's your higher self. That's your true inner self projecting service to others.
Yes.
I'm just saying what my journey, and people just listen to it and relating to it.
Yes, and service to others, this is an idea that I've always had this affirmation for myself, is that I want to bring joy. And I also want to inspire people. And that might sound very grandiose, but you're inspiring people all the time with what you do. So someone might say I'm doing a podcast, they might think maybe I could do a podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
One time I started busking in my town 2 years ago. I was real scared to do that because I was coming into my own town with a guitar and I'm singing at the harbour. Everyone knows me. But after I did it, a few weeks later, I noticed someone else was busking and scares,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Because he probably thought, oh, that's possible now. That's in my
Yeah.
realm. So you've been so surprised at how much we affect other people with our actions and
Exactly.
words and who we are.
Exactly.
So we are inspiring people. So if I can...
When you have faith and belief in yourself, people see that.
Yes.
And they're like, and then they start having faith and belief in themselves, and then they start projecting that out. It's the circle. It's a circle of life.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? As soon as everything's mirrored. So as soon as you project love and positivity within yourself and you project that out there, people generally start projecting love and positivity for themselves. It's a ripple effect.
It just comes out.
So as soon as you're putting it out there, people are taking it inboards, they're starting their own ripple effects, and then it's slowly going around the world.
Yes.
And everyone's starting to wake up to who they truly are.
Yes. And so just back to this, just on service, right? So
Yeah.
a part of me thought with music, why does it feel good when somebody says, like, I like the sound you made, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Because I've been thinking about this, like, why would it make me feel good, right? So, because when I write a song, I obviously like the song,
Yeah.
let's say, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is great. So I'm like an audience member
Yeah.
for myself, but I'm someone who's also, I've listened to other people's songs, I've listened to other things, and I've been inspired. I felt that. Do you know when you hear that song for the first time?
Yeah.
So I know what it's like to be instilled with energy from music and the creative work.
Of course.
So when someone says that to me, and then I think what makes me like it is that, oh my goodness, because I know what it's like to have them feelings generated in me, and
Yeah.
I was like a vehicle for that
Yeah.
in the world.
Of course.
That's like that's the feeling of like, oh shit,
Yeah.
like that. So that's why I think it's very gratifying when somebody says, oh, I appreciate what you do in the
Yeah,
world.
yeah.
Because we all have our own idols in the
course.
world, people that we look up to, people that we appreciate and think that are the kings of music or the kings of meditation, whatever it might be, or queens. Like we have people that have instilled in us inspiration. So the service bit comes, I think, from that. It's knowing that people. I've gotten so much for free, information for free. Like growing up with the internet, like so much of my ideas are just because of other people.
Yeah.
So if we can help instill that in other people, that's beautiful. I
Exactly.
think.
But that's the thing, because everything's based around money nowadays. Do you know what I mean? So it's hard. I give a lot of myself for free.
Yes.
But I don't expect anything back. I don't expect anything back off of anyone. Do you know, I do it because of love.
Yes.
I do it for the love, not just for myself, but in helping others. And that's the biggest point where I'm stepping into now is, even though I'm a spiritual life coach and I do a lot of stuff for free, and the same as meditation and breath work, it's hard to put a price on things because it's like you're helping people with their mental health.
Yes.
Because that's where it all comes from, is our mental health. And it's like, I can't put a price on that because I helped myself on mental health. Do you know what I mean? So if I can give that back to people and help people heal and obviously deal with things and have a better relationship with themselves,
yes.
How do you put a price on
But
that?
let me help, because I've struggled
It's
with
different
this.
with music.
No, it's not. It's. So I want to help you try and frame this a little bit in your mind, because it's hard with that kind of work, especially because, you know, it feels like, well, it should just be pure. Let's say pure, whatever that means,
100%.
right? But let's think about this, right? If you didn't make any money for the rest of your life, right, or you had $1 million, right?
Yeah.
How much more of an impact could you make on the mental health of people with $1 million versus zero, right?
Yeah.
Now, you could say it doesn't really, like, you could say this and that, right? So you might have an argument for that. But what I'm trying to say is that the money is I know we're in this system, right?
It's an energy.
And we're born into this world where economics is a thing, right?
Yeah.
So in order for you, let's say, to maximize the good that you could potentially do in the world, if you had funding to do that, it would be a good thing. And so when I'm thinking of money for my music, let's say, I don't know how that's going to work. I'm thinking, okay, if I can get the money, then I can make another album, or I can get a band, or I could do more gigs, or I could spend more time with the music, and then I can keep doing what I want to do
100%.
in a way. So the money, it feeds into the enterprise in a way, and without it, like there's great open source initiatives like that are in the world, but they need funding in order to do good work.
100%.
And so you have to think about
Then I suppose it's, again, like I had the same thought, was it depends where you're projecting the energy of money after you've earned it.
Yes.
If it's towards greed and everything else, then you're stepping away from
hookers and cocaine.
you're stepping away from the message you're trying to put out there.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So that's why I thought, like, I know for a fact the person that I am now, earning money, I know I will project that into further things.
Yes.
Because I want, like, there's so many things that I have visions of the future, and that is just even little things like schooling.
Yeah.
Like spiritual schools where kids learn everything, not just one religion.
Yes.
They learn every different aspect of science, different religions and everything else, and they know that everything's connected.
Yes.
Instead of keeping it all divided from everyone.
Yes.
Because that's the thing. We have obviously Catholic schooling, you have what's it called?
Normal schooling?
No, but just, you've got like different types of religions.
Okay.
And everyone's so stuck to their own religion.
Yes.
They don't realise how connected it is because there's one story's right.
Oh, yeah, one story's off.
right.
Yeah.
No, that story's right. Well, they're not. They're all right.
Yes. So,
they all lead back to the same thing, which is love.
Exactly.
Love is always the answer.
Love is always the answer, I believe.
100%.
Because I had come back to psychedelics. I remember I did a high dose mushroom trip just because I wanted to do it as part of my journey through this life. I was like, I have to do it at least once.
It's to find out. It's to open your mind.
Yes, but the message I got was there's a point on a trip where it can go into this realm of, I've never gone into the darkness, right?
Yeah.
But there's a place I know where, like, let's say mental illness, schizophrenia, absolute madness lives. And so I'm blindfolded, I'm listening to these like chanting music, whatever, kind of get, and I'm like, it starts going real dark. And I can't really, that's how I can describe it. It starts going dark.
Yeah.
And I've looked into that place twice, and somehow I've managed to not go in.
Yeah.
But I just heard love.
Yeah.
And love. Like, maybe that's what it is. And maybe love with a capital, it's in caps, love.
Yeah.
Not just love.
Yeah.
Like, I have love for my family, love for my friends. There's like a grander love.
Yeah,
and maybe we call it God, maybe we call it universe, maybe we have different names for it.
It's love for yourself.
Yes, and it's love for love for yourself is
it's your energy. When you have the love for yourself, you feel your whole aura.
Yes.
You can feel the whole energy around you portraying that love.
Yes.
And that is the highest vibrational frequency that anyone can emit, is love.
Yes.
So when you emit that love for yourself, you automatically project it out into the world.
Yes, I think because sometimes people say, "Oh, I love your energy," but like when I try to look back at that and I say, "Okay, what is it?" I'm very extroverted. That's
yeah.
But I do, like, a part of me just knows that this is a temporal existence in a way.
Yeah, of course.
So every moment that we have,
everything's temporary.
Yes, exactly. Everything's temporary. This tea, this coffee, this podcast is temporary, right?
Everything's an experience and a lesson.
So exactly. So, but when you realise that, it makes everything so much. Like, when we have these moments, I want us to be, I want to elevate it. And I want to be like, that was brilliant. Like, this is great. So, but it's love for life. I think knowing that it's temporal gives you such a love for it because 100%. It makes it so special.
100%.
I can't really, that's the only thing I can describe it.
But I think, like, as well, even though when you do find the love for yourself and you project it out, again, there's another hidden thing there because people think, that's it now. I've dealt with all my past and everything else. It's not the case. It's more the fact of knowing how to deal with it. Like, now, I still have negative thoughts. Do you know what I mean? It's not... like everyone. I might meet someone and they project a negative entity towards me, but not because of me. Now I know for a fact that I've got to the point now where nothing or no one can actually hurt you apart from your own thoughts.
Yes.
So if someone ignores you or steps away from you or has anything bad to say against you, that's not them projecting that to you. That is something that they haven't dealt with and healed within themselves.
Yes.
So that's where the fear and everything else and anger and negativity comes from. Yes. It's because they haven't dealt with their own past. And
you are, I know this might sound terrible, but you are, like, we are, Viktor Frankl had this book, it's called Man's Search for Meaning, and he was in the Nazi concentration camps, and he was kind of psychiatrist in the camps, but he's seen these experiences, right, where people, if you have a reason to keep going, you'll keep going, right? And the last of the human freedoms he describes is, even with all this stuff, even if they're torturing me, even if the hell, I am in control of how I react to that situation.
Exactly.
And even in the most dire, and I know it might sound terrible to hear, because I know some people have been through terrible stuff, and they
Same.
think like,
Same as that.
how could it be anyway? But
How can you heal from them?
exactly, how can you
heal
heal from those situations, and how can your mind be defined? Like, but our brains are so capable of changing the tape.
Of course.
And if we can work towards it, it's not easy sometimes.
But that's where forgiveness steps in.
Yes.
And that's the hardest thing, is forgiving, especially for people that have hurt us. And I've met people on my journey that have been through far worse situations than I have. And I sit there and I think, how can you forgive something like that?
I know.
But when I stepped into it, at the end of the day, you're not forgiving them people. It's not that they deserve your forgiveness. You're forgiving them mentally because you deserve your peace.
Yes.
So you're removing that blockage by forgiving them mentally, so you can excel and obviously move forward with your life. Because otherwise, we'd just stay in that negative situation.
And it keeps you there. And
100%.
I see. This is. I intellectually, I know this.
Yeah.
And I've had situations in my life where I've been able to forgive. I've had conversations with other people who've been through worse situations, and I told them that, I know this sounds hard, but if you forgive this person, and it caused a massive fight, but we got through it. It was a girl I was with, let's say. But it's easier said than done, because then something happened to me. And I'm probably in a good place now. It was a business that kind of didn't go well, let's say. And
I've been there as
it's
well.
hard for me. Maybe now I'm closer to forgiveness than I ever was, let's say. But it's hard because I'm like.
But again, that comes back to, was it with someone else?
No, it was to me. I felt that this person didn't do fair by me. Let's just say that's it. In a simple way.
Of course, but then that comes back to, that's something that they haven't dealt with.
Yes.
From their life, so they're holding on to a fear-based thing because they haven't released emotion and feeling that they've experienced before, and it's just they don't even. That was a big part of my journey, was that a lot of my feelings, emotions that from the age of 15. I thought I'd dealt with.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? I had, but I hadn't. And when I lost my mum, that was when everything came back up. Like from my real dad to my brothers and sisters that I never knew till I was 23.
Wow.
And then when my mum went, because she was my rock, when she went, it was like, fucking hell. So all of my past came back up.
Wow.
And that's what I was saying. We hold on to things, we don't realise it, because we store them feelings and emotions without releasing them.
Yes.
And then you get to a mental break, and then everything will just come back up. And then you've got all this going on in your mind.
Yes.
And that's where it's hard to obviously find the forgiveness and everything else. That's what I was saying to you with your past journey. It's not the fact that they done whatever they done on purpose. It's because they sat in their own fear.
Yes.
And then that's what we have to try and remember. It's like, that's where I remember now. If someone hurts me in some certain way, it takes me a couple of days to sit with myself and deal with it. But then it comes to the realisation that actually they didn't mean that.
Yes.
I know they didn't mean that, because if everything's love.
Yeah, if they were acting purely out of
love, they wouldn't have done it.
They wouldn't have done it.
So
That's like, yes.
So it's something that they're holding within themselves that they haven't released within themselves.
So there's more. So this, I can intellectualize this.
Yeah.
I can feel it. I'm closer now, and like the way you described it was really good, because people, the way I try to think about it, the way. When I see something, let's say, when people get road rage, or people say just stupid things about people, or they see, look at what they're doing. If you just remember, right, that one time, many years ago, that person was a child, right? A child! They were a child!
But that's what we always have to remember, is our inner child.
Yes. And they were, like, the people that exist now, they even... Like, let's say, drug addicts, heroin addicts, people that have committed horrible things.
Yeah.
At one point, they were just a little fucking baby.
Exactly.
And that makes it's hard. You can't really like say, oh, that baby's evil, or that baby fucked up their life with drugs, or because it's just a baby, right? Or it's a
100%.
child. And when you realise that we're all just children who just became adults, and we just no fault of our own.
But we always have to remember as well, we are infinite. Our souls are infinite. We've had past lives and we've had future lives. So a lot of people that might have a soul that steps into a baby's body that has had terrible past traumas over multiple different stages in their past. And that is everyone's journey as a soul. Once you get to the point of finding your true self everything else, we will come back. If I
Yes.
hadn't have gone through what I'm going through, I know for a fact as a soul, I'll be back and experience exactly the same kind of situations that I've been through in order for me to find my soul again.
So just on this point, because with this kind of esoteric stuff, right? I'm super open-minded, right? And
Yeah.
I've looked into lots of good reincarnation cases where
Yeah.
there's children who have are able to pinpoint things and say things that it's like, how is it possible that they said this, right?
Yeah.
There's a really good he was a psychedelic pioneer of like psychotherapy with psychedelics. His name's Stan Graff, and he had a book. He's gone into this whole world, and he has some stories that would blow your fucking mind with clients and stuff. And also, even Carl Jung, in a way, like synchronicity. Like he came up with that term, synchronicity. He has some synchronicity stories that I won't get into now, but there's stories that I've heard, right?
Yeah.
Now I haven't experienced. I want to be. I'd love to be convinced of all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But there's always a part of me that is like, I need to experience something of like from the spiritual dimension. Like one day I want to go to, not far off, but I have it. It's on my list. It's like I need to go to a psychic, or I need to go to me. I need to see.
Yeah.
Just from my own first person experience, right?
Yeah.
Is there something that this person can say that will convince me that they're that, because my heart is open to the spiritual dimension, and I do feel that there is something grander going on, but I can't say for certain, right? I can't say these things for certain for me personally. So when you say these you have such kind of conviction in what you're saying, and like that's the bit I don't currently. How have you been able to develop the conviction, or how do you
meditation?
Okay.
Because every single human being on this planet has psychedelic
capacity. No, listen. Psychic
abilities.
Yes.
But we're so out of tune with that because we're so concentrated on everything else that's going on in our lives.
Yes.
But only through meditation and sitting with self and reconnecting with yourself and source can we connect to other realms and multiple dimensions.
Interesting.
And that's only when we've removed all of our past and our past traumas and everything else. Because otherwise, if we don't remove that, we'd keep popping up into our heads. I mean, I've had experiences through meditation where I've connected with my mum, my two uncles, and my granddad who I never even met. Had a full-on conversation with them.
Wow.
And I'll come out of the meditation bawling my eyes out. And it was just, that was a release and a joy within myself. That was magical. And the fact that now, even though we're just human bodies, I know for a fact that there's another family out there somewhere in the world that is experiencing my mum's soul.
Yes.
And to me, that's just amazing.
So I can see it in your eyes,
it's
that
amazing,
conviction and the joy that will
100%.
bring, and the alleviation of like, oh, everything's okay.
Yeah.
But like, so when you had, like, because that sounds like such a profound experience.
I've had loads of experiences, and
so how did them experiences, like, how do you not, like, how, because even if I had them experiences, right, for me, I'd be like, how do I know? Is it, you just have to kind of, like, how do you know it's real? How do you know it's real?
I suppose it's practice and perseverance. The same with anything. Same as going to the gym.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? If you really want to get that desired look that you want to go for yourself, it's the same as meditation. Do you know what I mean? It's practice and perseverance. We have to heal ourselves. We have to find our path to enlightenment, shall we say.
Yes.
And the only way we can do that is by removing all the negative blocks and negative energies that we have stored within ourselves. And the only reason why you know it's true and you know it's real, because you're it's hard to explain.
Yes.
But you are sitting there with yourself. Your eyes are closed. Everything's gone. It could take like half hour for you to even remove anything from that day or that any kind of energy. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You won't just get it straight away.
Yeah. When you do, you're floating. And you know your presence is here, but your spiritual body, your spiritual inside body is somewhere else. And you're having conversations and epiphanies. And I've had experiences with things that I never even knew.
Wow.
Like Martin Luther King, for instance. I never read his I Had a Dream speech. I've never studied it. And I had an epiphany there back last summer. And it was like I was in meditation. And all I kept on saying was, I have a dream, I have a dream. And the next day when I come out of meditation, I wrote down my own I Have a Dream speech based on modern times.
Wow.
So that's surreal. So even I've had other experiences, obviously going through Catholic schooling,
Yeah.
where I haven't studied anything. Everything that's come to me that I speak about has come to me from my higher self or whatever's out there, even with the whole Jesus and the whole story behind it.
Yes.
That
So
was
there's lots of there's this guy, right, who he claims that he's speaking with these higher entities, and when he's writing and speaking, he's written books through these entities. And when he speaks in this kind of weird thing, and then they speak through him. But I watched this podcast, and it was hard when I looked at it. I go, what is going on here? Because I was asking you questions, and then you were talking to these entities, and then it was like, and the answers sounded so profound, and everything else, and I was like, all right, what the fuck? Like, no matter what, like, I don't know what's going on here, but it kind of gave me this sense of, like, because again, when you're open minded to these things and you're thinking of all the possibilities, even with like the new UFO phenomenon, that now the world is kind of waking up and saying, oh yeah, we don't actually know what these fucking things are or whatever. But it's so funny how, like,
I can delve into that one as well. That's another
there's very prominent scientists now who have had to kind of do a 180, let's say, on the UFO phenomenon because now the government, now that everyone has said, oh, this is actually something here, then it's like, oh yeah, of course there is now. But the science, like, when you become hard-nosed in an opinion, let's say, and you're not willing to let the other side even, you just think, oh no, they're stupid, that's wrong. Even flat earth, like, I'm not now, I looked into it for myself just to see what was there and how we can prove that the earth is round, because I just like, well, actually, hold on. So I had to look into it. I had to look at debates. I got into it, and I was like, okay.
But you can see that just from a flight.
Exactly.
Just from the hemisphere.
But exactly, and there's lots of evidence. But I wanted to try and understand, how are these people convinced otherwise? Because they're convinced otherwise. And I think it's just. But even then, I sympathise. Even if I think I don't agree with what they're saying.
Yeah, of course.
I sympathise that they're just humans caught up in this thought pattern, similar to I'm caught up in different thought patterns. But I'm not. I don't want to say the way. It's easy to look at these people and say, oh, that's stupid. That's the problem, I think, with the whole world, is to look at other people and say, to belittle them. Now, it's different if you're coming at me and you're abusing me. I can get caught up in that terrible energy as well, unfortunately. But
automatically, as humans, we react straight away.
Yes, exactly. So, but if you're just looking down your fucking nose at people because they have different beliefs or ideas than you, just because you think you're right, and I think, coming from like when I was a teenager, once you discover information and then you go from religious to atheist, let's say, you get all these like rational superpowers, and it's like, oh, the Bible's so stupid, Moses, all the flood, it's so easy, and but you look down, it gives you this looking down, this superiority complex, and I'll let you tag you in now in a second, but you can see the mirrors of it with the morals of let's say some ideologies like woke, super woke, let's say, where if I am offended by your tattoos, and I say they offend me, like they're hurting me, so can you please get rid of them? I don't think we should have them. Like that you'd say that's ridiculous, but I'm looking down on you because I have an idea about what tattoos are, let's say, or whatever they are. And it gives you the high horse. You get up on your high horse and you're like, oh, you don't think about people that are offended by tattoos the way I think about them. So we have to avoid getting on the moral high ground, and because you're not going to convince people if you don't sympathise and empathise. And anyway, I don't know what you want. I didn't really give you a segue there.
No, I completely get you. Again, I think it boils back down to when you find self-love for yourself. When you find true love for yourself, if someone throws an opinion at you or anything like that, again, you sit there and think like, actually, that's just your opinion.
Yes.
You're welcome to it. You can either sit there and let it affect your mind, your subconscious minds, or you can choose a positive route.
Yes.
And be like, well, that's their opinion. That's okay. They're accepted to it. That's fine.
Yes. And I think more likely,
that's a them problem, not you problem.
Yes. And I can just I can be like, okay, that's how they look at the world.
Yeah.
But the people that I argue most with is when I'm super close. Like me and my brother, we'll have like the odd argument about something that might seem so trivial, let's say, but it's an we have different opinions.
Yeah, of course.
But because we're brothers, right? We grew up like in the same room.
Yeah,
so we have all these patterns.
Yeah.
Let's say that like because we're just little kids.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
who just got older.
Yeah.
And but when we get into an argument, like if I'm wrong, and even if I realise I'm wrong in the argument, it's very hard to admit I'm wrong. It's like I just like it's hard for me to because we're in the heat of battle.
Yeah.
And I'm like I'll just hold on to it, and it'll only be afterwards that I'll come back to him and say, "Oh yeah, sorry about that. I was wrong."
Yeah,
or blah blah. But in the heat of battle, it's hard.
Yeah. I suppose I don't know. I don't think I'm wrong. I don't think I'm right.
Yes.
I literally just project my inner wisdom and what I've been told by whoever, or my higher self, however you want to say it.
Yes.
And that's just how I see it. I don't care what people say about me. I don't care what people think about me. That is their opinion.
Yes.
They can either take it on board and listen to it or not listen to it. That's entirely up to them. And even when it comes to an argument now, it's like you can feel the energy as soon as you walk into a room.
Yes.
I generally can. I walk into a room with people and I feel the energy straight away. I'm just like...
Tick.
And then I stay silent. I absorb the energies and listen to it and everything else before I project anything out there.
Yes.
I don't... Even with my daughter, I don't project what I'm going through onto her because at the end of the day, she's with the Catholics and everything else. I mean, it's not down to me to project that onto her.
Yes.
The only thing I do project onto her is believing in herself, loving herself.
The
and
fundamentals.
having faith in herself. And that's basically all spirituality is.
Yes.
Everything else, it's knowledge. Knowledge is linear.
Yes.
It's not in a book. It's in a book for us to guide ourselves. But again, it's all history.
Yes.
Everything that we know now and everything that I know now, not saying that I know everything because I don't.
Yes.
Knowing everything is impossible.
Yes, especially these days.
especially in multiple dimensions. Do you know what I mean? It's like I can't. I'm a multiple dimensional being. I don't know where I'm at different points in my life. It depends where I am. If I'm at work, I'm in a different reality.
Yes.
Because I'm in a 3D reality because you're stuck in that circle of...
Yes, you're putting on that hat.
Yeah,
whatever.
Exactly. That's why I'm putting on the hat.
Yeah.
I'm covering my crown chakra and my third eye chakra.
Oh, interesting.
So when I get home and I take it off, I release that. And that's when I reconnect back with myself. I come back from out of the 3D reality, back into the fifth dimension of love and everything else. And not saying that I'm not there then, because I am. I don't listen to anyone's negative energy and portray an opinion on it. My opinion is through love.
Yeah.
It's from my heart.
Yes, and
that's the biggest thing, is leading our lives through our hearts and not our minds. And it's differentiating the difference between both.
Yes.
And you know when it's the difference, because if it's negative, that's coming from your ego mind. If anything negative, fear-based is coming from your ego mind. When it's to do with love and compassion and everything else, you know that's coming from your heart.
And you're touching on so many good points here, and stuff's just clicking with me as you're talking. But so as we're, let's say, in work, we play a particular role.
Yeah.
Even in
play a role every day.
When I'm getting a coffee, I play the customer role.
Yeah.
Now I'm playing the podcast kind of role, but there's a part of I'm trying to understand why I feel when I have a podcast conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
It's like an elevated conversation. It's like a turned up because there's something about us sitting here and knowing that we're the purpose is to just espouse our best,
consume everyone's energy.
Yes, and to give our best, the best information that we have and bring it forth.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
So there's something about the podcast that helps. The fact that I know I'm being recorded, the fact that I know this, it helps me actually. It might be weird, but I feel like I'm at my truest self when I'm here and I'm like engaged in the conversation.
I'm the same with my Instagram posts.
Yes, because you're engaged in that way, and you're putting your truest.
Exactly. You're putting your true, authentic self out there.
Yes.
That is like what I post is my true, authentic self. It's not a false version of myself. It's a version that I never knew I had.
Yes.
Because I was so constructed and condensed into everyone else's energy and not my own energy. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
We absorb so many different energies and different opinions and everything else and different wants.
Yes.
It's not our wants. They're normally wants of everyone else.
This is so...
Even with life, even when it comes to mortgage, kids and everything else, they are wants of societal. That's a societal pattern.
Yes. And you need these by certain ages.
Yeah, exactly. And people believe that.
Yes.
So when it comes to like someone like me, I'm nearly 35. I'm not married. I don't have a mortgage. Yeah, I've got a daughter and she's my absolute world.
Yes.
But I don't want that. I don't want what everyone else has got.
Well, no, not everybody else has it either.
No,
it's
I
all
know.
at the moment. That's what you know.
But even in general, my whole life, I do not want that.
Yes, yes.
I don't see myself having a mortgage that's on a house that's never actually ours
Yes.
for the rest of my life.
I think for everybody, it's like there's no way to live a life.
No.
There's absolutely
This is where people get. This is where a lot of the world gets stuck because they live their lives based on everyone else's life.
Exactly. They think, they need this is the game of live video game, and you have
I remember a couple
of
years ago, someone told me going travelling at 40 is like, no, you can't do that. You're too old to go travelling.
Yeah, it's like, what do you mean? Who said that? Who said you're too old?
What, you've got to do it at 21 and that's it?
Like this is the most profound realization is that your life that you are living right now.
Self-realisation.
Yes, this is self-realization. This is life realization. This is realizing that you as you exist in this universe have never existed for in this incarnation with the story that is your life now. Let's say that's the case, right?
Exactly.
So no one has lived your life before.
No.
So there's no one way to fucking do it.
No.
And it's like from beginning to end, whatever happens is whatever happens.
Exactly.
And there's no judgment on it in a way. You know what I mean? You just gotta
there's judgment on it.
Yes.
But as long as you don't judge yourself.
Yes, exactly. There's judgment on it, but that doesn't matter.
No.
You need to be the final.
No.
Are you going to say, at the end of your journey, was that a good story? Was that a good life?
Of course.
Are you going to say...
Do you remember that programme, This Is Your Life?
No.
There was a programme back in the UK and it was like celebs and they used to get a red book. And it was This Is Your Life and it'd have people from their pasts. And they come in and they celebrate their life. And that's basically what everyone's life is.
Yes.
It's like when you want to get to the point at the end of this body and say that I've lived the best possible life in this body.
Yes.
And I can project that onto people like my daughter and obviously kids if we have more kids or anything else for them to excel with their own life.
Yes.
And live the life that they want to live.
Exactly. To the truest, fullest potential.
Exactly. At the end of the day, we are here to enjoy life.
Yes.
Life is to be enjoyed. We take life so fucking seriously. I did in the past.
Yes.
Because I felt like I had to be somewhere at a certain point.
Yes.
Whereas now I've gone through a massive death and rebirth and a massive rebirth.
Yes.
And it's like, hang on, my life is my life. I live my life how I want to live it.
Yes.
If I want to go to Egypt next week and spend a couple of days there, I'm going to go.
Yes.
If someone says, oh, you can't do that, you know what I mean? You've got everything else going on. Say what?
Yes.
I can come back to that.
Yes.
That's just priorities.
There's not like if you're just you need to be the one that has you have final say over your own life and your own destiny. And when you are trying to understand yourself, a big part is understanding where your current beliefs or expectations of reality have come from in a way.
Yeah.
And then when you realise that, oh shit, these are all those cultural things. Like if I was just born into the world and I was the only human that ever lived, my life would be so different.
But that's where our minds get conditioned because we care more about everyone else's opinions than what we do of ourselves.
Yes.
So like anything, if you say like if you wanted to go away next week, you'd say it to your brothers and sisters, I might go away next week, and you'll get a negative opinion. Well, you might get a negative opinion. And straight away that sits in your mind, you're like, actually, no, Joe, I won't go away next week.
Yes.
I'll leave that.
The ultimate joy that I found, and this is what the last year has been, is that my opinion of myself, like I'm so happy with what I'm doing right now. I'm like, if I could look from the outside, I'm like, way to go, man! Like fucking fair play to you.
Same.
And there's nothing that anybody could ever say that would get that level of joy or happiness. Like that's all just subjective. And once you realise that though, it's different then.
Same. Even when it comes to fashion.
Yes.
My fashion now, I've been in and out of this kind of 80s rock and roll look from about 21.
Yes.
But I had so many different groups of friends, I used to change the way that I dressed just to fit into that group.
Yes.
And I was never comfortable in that fashion sense or whatever it was. Do you know what I mean? Because I knew it wasn't me. So it took me to go through my spiritual journey to be fully comfortable with how I look, how I dress, and how I appear. These are my robes.
Yes.
It's not just ripped jeans and a t-shirt and a shirt. These are my robes.
Yes.
And it's what I project out onto other people.
Exactly.
And this is for the first time in my 35-year lifespan, I can honestly say this is who I am.
That's brilliant, man.
And I'm so fucking proud of that.
That's beautiful. And to say, even with style, like, because I used to be so I think I was afraid to take. I didn't have a high opinion of my looks, let's say, or I was very down about myself.
Of course,
as I was growing up, and I was always graze and just, I didn't want to stand
Yeah,
out in
yeah,
any way.
yeah.
Because if I took style serious, it was offering myself to be on the chopping block. Like, oh, look at that.
Again, it's
state of that.
opinions.
It's all opinions. But then when I started busking, this
Yeah,
is what.
but that's where, do you know what, funny, that's where expanded consciousness comes in. Because we don't even get an opinion, and automatically we think of that negative opinion straight away.
Straight away.
Because it's not, and again, it's not even your fault. That's someone else's fault
Yes.
that they're projecting onto you. So that's how connected we all are, just through consciousness.
But it can even be like in this regard, it was actually, it wasn't like a direct thought, but I was actually in a prison, an invisible prison.
Yeah.
That was based on a belief that I had about myself. That was the prison.
Yeah.
And like all my thoughts were happening in that prison, let's say. So when I was deciding on my clothes, it was based out of that fear in a way,
yeah.
or I wasn't able to but now when I started getting into it, and then I started realizing, what is the kind of person that I want to project into the world? And so another reason, I only had this the other night. So I love these, like, do you ever see a jester? Like they have these, or clown, like they're kind of cargo pants, right?
Back from the day,
yeah, but they're my pants.
If you like them, fuck it.
No, and I know that. So I was like, I ordered. I was just like, these are. I'm sick of these fucking straight pants. Right? I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
I'm the jester. I'm the like do.
You're the high energy octane.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I was looking at the pants, I was like, that's because it gives. There's an interaction between the entity that I dress as, or I project myself, and they're starting to line up more with, like, I'm starting to align
your chakras.
Let's say chakras, but all the different ways of being me.
Yeah.
Like they're all coming
You're finding yourself grounded, centered, balanced, compassionate, truthful, seeing, knowing.
Hopefully, anyway.
Of course you are. You're aligning yourself. Brilliant. Yes. When you align yourself fully with who you are, you will feel that whole energy. It's like the Kundalini energy.
Yes.
You will feel, whether you believe in chakras or not, do you know what I mean? That's just your whole energy system that is arising within you. And when you fully find that within you, it's just, wow.
That's the feeling that's what I'm approaching a point where, like, I feel now more than ever. And the more with the podcast, it's like self-discovery as well. So I listen back, it's like I'm studying myself, and then I'm learning more, and then we're
always on a journey.
We're always
learning about ourselves.
Yes.
As soon as you get to a certain point and you're like in this blissful state, and then all of a sudden you learn something else about yourself.
Yes.
Like, I've just learned something else about myself, which I was chatting to this girl, and she brought something out of me which I never thought I had, and that was a lot of confidence within myself.
Yes.
And it was like a lot of feelings happened really quickly. And then she just went really cold. And that's cool. And it was, I even said to myself, this is just another experience and a lesson. And that's the hardest thing, is finding a lesson behind the experience. And it can take weeks, months, days, minutes.
Years.
Literally years, we don't know.
Yes.
And that was another thing. It was like, that was when I fully emerged into unconditional love with myself.
Yes.
Because I felt it. It wasn't necessary. Again, she was another mirrored version of me.
Yes.
I see a lot of me in her. She's got her own healing journey, bless her. Do you know what I mean? She's just stepping into it, and she didn't realise that. But for me, seeing that and projecting her energy towards me, and me projecting that energy back, that was a step into fully aligning myself with my confidence and the love for myself.
Brilliant. And I think you touched on something interesting with just with relationships. Like for me, like I'm like heterosexual, so it's women for me that kind of. What I've learned is that there's no, like, I can't ever need somebody, let's say, because if I need somebody, then my happiness is tied up. Yes, exactly. I'm replacing them. So fundamentally, you need to be happy with yourself, and if somebody. Let's say if you ask somebody out, or they're not receptive to it, then it's like, oh, okay, that's actually fine, because like they're not, when it happens, that'll happen. Let's say that's the way I think about it now. When the stars align, but I'm not going to try force the stars to align.
No, but this is another thing where we step into our truth, which is our divine masculine energy, and we're staying it from our heart, which is our divine feminine energies. So when you project your truth, instead of sitting in fear of your feelings and emotions, and we project them out truthfully to that person, it's up to them whether they accept it and say it back.
Yes.
If they can't step into their truth and their feelings and their emotions is because they're running from it. Again, it boils back down to there's something that they haven't dealt with or released because they're not ready to step into being true with themselves to be true with you.
Yes, and I think when you meet people that you're super aligned with, let's say, because there's like, let's say this conversation we're having right now, there's people, like if I met someone at a bus stop, I'd just be talking mundane stuff, let's say. So there's people that bring, well, like let's just say they're vibrating at a particular energy,
Of course, yeah.
and they're user aligning on that energy, and so you're amplifying that particular part of yourselves, and when you can be your truest self with somebody else, I think that's the biggest sign that this is something that can work, or this relationship that I should have in my life.
100%.
If you look at places in your life where you're being projected back into that fear mentality of like, oh, when I try to do this thing, I get laughed at, or these people are just they don't really want what's best for me. They just want a drinking buddy, or they just want a drug buddy or something.
100%.
So you have to you
100%.
have to be the arbiter of your own sort of. I think the biggest key is self-awareness.
That's literally just about to say that. Again,
yes.
When I said earlier about you're saying things that I project and everything else, that's the big. When you're in self-awareness of yourself, you become fully awareness of everyone else, because everyone you meet, you'll see a little bit of yourself within them.
Yes.
And then you see, oh, that's mad. You won't see it straight away.
Yes.
You'll see it a couple of weeks down the line. If that person's left your aura, you'll be like, oh, fucking hell, that was like a bit of myself that I completely missed. And it's like a reminder of your journey on how far you've come and how far you're going.
Interesting.
So it's like 1 step, 2 step, 3 step. And then you'll look back and the people that have come into your life, you'll sit there and you'll see the experience and the lesson behind it and how you've grown just from that little situation to where you are now. Yes. That's what I'm saying. We're constantly growing and healing.
Yes. Yeah, growing and healing. That's actually an interesting way of putting it, because there's always stuff. I mean, there's no way to live a life that isn't without trauma or pain of some kind.
Exactly.
That's just part of it.
Exactly. Actually, I was going to touch on a point, actually, you mentioned about a book. I watched something about people dealing with things that are terrible. And I remember seeing this guy. His daughter was murdered and raped by this guy in America. And obviously at the court hearing, like the dad just went up to the bloke who done it and gave him a hug. Just because he knew that that's not him. That was what he done wasn't him. That was a projection of something that he's experienced himself, and he's just carried that anger within himself and released that on someone without actually realising it. And the kid just broke down crying. Gave him a hug back and was just like, couldn't get his sorriness out of it. And that was when you knew he stepped into his true self, because the dad was forgiving of him. Jeez. And it was so weird and magical to see that the dad just stepped up to that and just gave him a hug. If someone done that, I don't know if I could do that.
I know. That's the thing.
Where I'm at now,
yeah.
Because even little things piss me off now. I was on the bus the other day and these 15-year-old girls, they were faced inwards as you're walking down the aisle and their knees are touching each other. I'm trying to walk past, they didn't move.
Yeah.
I straightened away. I felt like getting the rock. I felt like getting the rock backhand out and giving it one of those. I was just like, "Sorry, girls, can you move your legs, please? This is a walkway."
Yes, but you can
feel
that.
They gave me an evil, and I was just started laughing. I was just like,
"But that energy is so funny."
Exactly.
Like
we're human at the end of the day.
Exactly. Like people talking in the cinema pisses me off, man.
Yeah.
At a comedy thing or something.
Yeah.
I'll just say it. I just can't. I have to say it because I'm just like, I'm here to watch the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit of. But
respect.
Yeah, a bit of respect. When people are constantly talking, awareness. Yes, but when people don't give you that, like when you're walking on the path, it's so easy to get that anger, and it's hard to.
But that's also the same with life. You know, we're on a path. We're always on multiple paths, and you'll get people that will step in the way of that path.
Yes.
And that's our trials and tribulations. So it's what it says in the Bible. We all have trials and tribulations on our pathless path to finding out who we truly are. And it's up to us whether we let them negative energies take over our path or we move them out the way and carry on with our positive self-love path.
Yes. And so just back to this, because when that story of the man forgiving the man, it just... When you see that, you're just like, how on earth is that possible? And it's amazing what humans... There was this great story. during the Holocaust, there was these. Imagine they're going into the concentration camps. They're getting the bus. There's people in two lines, right?
Yeah.
And one of them was basically you're gonna die.
Yeah.
One of them was like you're gonna go to like survive or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
right? And a random
It's like red,
stranger.
blue, pill.
Sorry.
It's like the red, blue, pill.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's all yeah. But a guy who was gonna just live,
Yeah.
he just swapped places just randomly
Yeah.
with this person. And the story is from the person who got sick. Like someone just decided with their humanity, with their life, that they were gonna sacrifice themselves for some random person. That just blows my mind to think of. When you think what is possible for us, or how petty we can be, or how the world is a terrible place.
Yeah.
We are capable of such acts of kindness
Exactly.
and love. It's amazing,
Exactly.
really.
But that's how we should all be.
Yes.
That's humanity.
That's humanity.
That's 5D consciousness. That's heaven to
That's
earth.
the real stuff.
That's ascension. That's enlightenment. That's love for yourself. As I said, when you feel have love for yourself, you
Yes.
project that onto others, no matter what the situation.
Because there's so many terms for stuff, and
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to.
That's where I got confused on my journey, because I see so many different aspects.
Yes.
And it's like, but when you put it all together and you put it to one, and you find out that technically they actually all mean the same thing.
Yes.
It's just different terminologies.
So yeah, I that's what when I'm coming through these experiences, and life, I'm actually I come up with my own terminology, let's say, but then I'm like, oh, that just mirrors that stuff, whatever. But for me, I'm just like, all right, just keep it for your own terminology, because I don't want to get too tied up in. Because I'm worried that if I start labeling things, I'll think that certain. Because I think there's so many ways of slicing the reality of stick, let's say.
The best way for me to actually say for anything is probably look at Hinduism.
Yes.
Because Hinduism is the only. It's not a religion. It's a way of life. Everything that they say, we are connected, everything, the universe and everything else is portrayed in different Western civilization religions. But that's, everything is there. But we're kept away from it. And I didn't know that as well. That's part of my journey, and everything that I kind of found out and within myself led back to Hinduism.
Interesting.
Because they have the right way of seeing life. Is that everything is connected, everything is one, everything is love, the highest vibrational frequency. So no matter what way you go, whether it's science, religion, blah, 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 it all leads back to the same thing.
But why Hinduism and not, like, let's say Buddhism? Do you know any different? Because I think very similar. I think
because again, I think with Buddhism, the Bible, the Quran, it's a story based on one person. That again, it's not just a story.
Oh, interesting.
These are just beings,
Yes.
you know, that have there's putting their love and light out into the world, and that's all it is. It's just there's stories for us to guide ourselves along.
Yes.
But obviously, we're not taught them right. We're taught them we have to look for the saviour when the saviour's within you. We are our saviours.
Yes.
Jesus Christ is Christ consciousness. Jesus meaning saviour. Jesus meaning saviour. Christ meaning the anointed one, the enlightened one. His name was actually Joshua, wasn't it?
Oh, interesting. I don't know. You know
Yeah,
what
his
I mean.
name was
That's
actually,
why you're here.
His name was actually Joshua.
Okay.
And he took himself off for 40 days and 40 nights. He sat with his feelings and emotions, found out that he was actually connected to Source, which is the Father, and the Mother, which is Mother Nature.
Interesting.
And he's projected that onto his 12 disciples, 12 universal laws,
and
projected that into the world.
There's lots of
But the Roman Catholics didn't like it.
So with the Bible stories, with the Hindu stories, with all these stories, even with the Egyptian stories like Horus, I think there's these stories that came even pre, like these stories could be hundreds of thousands of years old. We don't know, because there's mirrors of, let's say, the flood, or with Jesus, let's say the winter solstice, like where the sun rises, and because it drops and then it comes up. But if you correlate that with the movement of the sun in the sky, let's say, during that period, because it drops for 3 days and then it rises again, let's say. So, and then with the 12 apostles, it's like the stars, like the 12 zodiacs, but these are actually like these.
Well, it's the same as the three wise men.
Yes, the three wise men. Yes.
Intuition, your heart, and your mind.
Oh, interesting. And then just but Orion's belt a little bit as well.
Again, that's where it can be confusing, because we get so fixated on characters. Like
Yes.
I was the same with Egyptians for a little bit. I was like, wow, Horus and everything else, this is amazing. But when you actually study that one thing and then you look at another person and study another thing, you actually realise that they're not actually different. They're exactly the same
Yes.
person.
You
It's
need
just an energy.
there's yes, the
And their
story.
stories.
So the story's like one level.
Yeah.
But there's a level.
There's the hidden message behind it.
Yes, there's the story is like it's like wearing a mask. Like there's all the stories give a particular energy, a particular message, let's say, and
but they're all stories again to keep us all divided.
Interesting.
Do you know what I mean?
Well,
We've got different civilizations.
Some stories, like the stories that have stood the test of time, like some of the parables in the Bible, like the story of Genesis.
Yeah.
There could be so much like sort of depth there in terms of the mirroring of the human experience.
Of course,
like for example, like just born with consciousness, being naked, being vulnerable in the world, and then like the Garden of Eden, like the apple, like the darkness, the shadow, like it's all there's all these
so
sort
again,
of
that's the ego mind to love.
yes. It's so what I'm saying is that
the apple is forbidden fruit. That's you going into your greed, your anger, your fears, and everything else.
yes, or there's like the story of Cain and Abel, like where one brother just gets very jealous of the other brother, let's say, because the father is just like accepts him even though he's doing fuck all, whatever. And that's part of being human. Like, why is he getting this? Why are they getting that? Like, and then he kills or whatever. But these stories, let's say, like, remove the Bible, remove all that. Just remember, humans wrote these stories, right? Let's say, or they exist in the human consciousness and history. And why did they transcend? Why did they carry on for so many years? And why? That's why I think story. There's something fundamental in story that we gravitate. There's lessons about our own, because we're living a story in a way, and our existence is fundamentally a story, and it's going to have lessons in it in a way.
Exactly. Yeah.
But so, just in terms of your own personal story, where do you see yourself? Like with all with your current journey, like what's the next kind of steps for you in terms of maybe getting the message out there, your personal growth, or just
helping
anything?
others. Helping others heal. Helping others heal is helping me heal.
Yes.
That's again, it's back to the mirrored version. You know, it's for everybody that I have helped. Again, it's me projecting myself and my own healing.
Yes.
It's like everything I say. Again, with my stories and videos and everything else, it's like when I look back at it, it's actually generally me talking to myself. And it's like a reminder.
Yes.
And it's like, oh no, actually, yeah, you're right.
Hold on, relax.
Yeah.
Like, don't forget.
Well, not right, but in your own way. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if I'm right or not. Do you know what I mean? I'll just say what's.
But there's another way to look at it.
Exactly.
In a way, because sometimes, it's like the other night I was trying to sleep and I was like, why am I even doing this? What's the point? Blah blah. You get all these thoughts come in.
I mean, it's the same with life. You know, it's kind of when you say like, "Where's your end goal?" Whatever. The end is the same as the beginning. The beginning is the same as the end. Whatever happens in between is up to you.
Well, that's interesting.
And that's the way I see life. It's like you live in the present moment.
That's...
Our conversation 5 minutes ago has already happened.
Yes.
Our conversation now is happening now, here and now. That's all we ever have. Is here and now.
Yes.
I don't say what's going on in my future because I don't know. I haven't lived it. It's already happened. I just haven't experienced it yet.
It's just the beginning. The beginning is the same as the end. This is so beautiful because in the final moments of your life, if you're lucky enough to be in a hospital bed and knowing that you're gonna, like, let's say you've had a 100-year life and you're sitting there and you're like, oh shit, I'm at the end now. But when you're in that bed or whatever, you're just experiencing like the same way we're experiencing now.
Yeah, of course.
So like,
you're just leaving that body behind.
Exactly.
I've already faced death.
But what I mean, even but that's the thing. Facing death, I think, is that's
the old self, my old whoever I was, that don't even exist anymore. That to me, that's death. That's death and rebirth. Is finding out, is facing death, facing your darkness, your deepest darkness moments, and being in love with your darkness as much as your light. When you're in duality with both, it's like I don't fear death. Yes. I actually generally don't and do not fear. I don't fear anything. I met this girl a couple of weeks ago. Where was it? In a park. Just for a walk. She was walking her dog. It was pitch black. She left. I had to walk through that park, through the woods on my own. to go and get the bus on the other side of the park.
Oh.
Clontarf.
Yes.
And I had no light. There was no lights. And I just walked through without fear. Because I knew I was protected and guided by the universe. Whereas before,
mate.
I'd be shitting myself.
I'd
I
be
thought I'd be
shitting
getting a
it.
taxi.
I get it.
Come on, take me home quick. I walked straight through.
Legend.
Through the darkness. I just had obviously to let me know where I was walking.
Yes.
I sit in dark all the time.
Interesting.
Because I face my dark.
The dark is scary. There's a laneway very close by at night time.
Mm.
Sometimes I walk, like if I'm on a walk at night, especially when I was recording the album, I needed to get out of the house because my brain was going crazy.
Yeah.
But and now I love now I've built up a habit. I just love what you've seen around here.
Yeah,
it's,
of course,
beautiful.
it's beautiful.
But there's a lane and it's real dark. And sometimes I'm not brave enough. Sometimes I'm like, I need to push myself to do it. Because it's scary. It's dark.
It's one of those, you have to release your fears of losing things.
Yes.
I've already lost everything. I can't lose it again.
The reason that I don't fear death, I'm trying to think, I don't really fear it anymore because I used to be afraid of it because I think I didn't want to die or I wasn't. I don't think I was. Now that I'm doing what I want to be doing, it's like, oh well, at least I got to a stage in my. It feels like I was afraid because I hadn't reached a point where I was felt fulfilled. Let's say perhaps, but all that's kind of melted away now, and now it's just like because once you, it's not that. Being afraid that is just not accepting that. I think once you accept all the resistance is suffering. Like craving is suffering. Like so, craving life or craving not dying is where the suffering comes from. Like pain, even if you now, I don't know what it's been like to be in severe pain for long periods of time, but I've had pain where, let's say where like you've been sick and like or you've a sore knee or something where, but you can get to a place with it. And I don't know what it's like when you have real severe pain, but pain, when you meditate on pain, it's just an experience of something. When you go, what is pain? And then you say, what is that sensation of pain? And you look at it from that kind of meditative view, it becomes something else. It's so fucking weird.
Yeah.
But you can get to a place where you can accept
imbalance.
Pain. Yes. Yeah. And you can the pain, because you're like, oh, I don't want this pain anymore. I don't want it anymore. That's where the real pain comes from. But if you accept, if you can be like, this is just part of it, then you transcend the pain.
Again, it's just temporary.
Yes, exactly. It's just everything is temporary. Because even if you're suffering for 30 years in a hell pit, eventually it's going to end.
Of course, yeah.
Actually, this is a real funny experiment, right?
You know the famous saying, the light is at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
You are your light. You're also your dark. So when you step into that dark tunnel, you're stepping into your own darkness. Yes. And you're rediscovering yourself and you're finding out your light. And you are your light at the end of your dark tunnel.
Yes. This is... So, sorry, I just want to... Because this is a thought experiment, right, that actually helped alleviate my fear of death even more, right? So imagine... Instead of... Imagine you never died, right? Imagine if
we don't.
No, but just bear with me, right?
Soulfully speaking, we don't.
The fear of dying, let's say, is that my entity, Basil Breen, is gonna... That story comes to an end. That final annihilation, right? But let's play this out in your head, right? Imagine you couldn't die. Imagine you live, right, in this entity forever, right? And if you wanted to check out, you couldn't. Imagine you stuck a knife in your neck. And you never could get out.
Yeah.
That, for me, feels a bit scary. I don't know about you, but knowing that, imagine I could never get out. I could be here for 1,000,000 years, and it'll never end. That sounds scary.
But some people are. Some people are dead and they're still alive.
Yeah, but exactly. But
Michael Jackson, Elton John, not Elton John, still alive, sorry. Tupac. These are all people
but
that have living forever.
So you live a life, right?
But you mean like physically speaking?
People around you are going to suffer. You're going to see terrible things. Your psychology changes over time. A part of me felt that I would want to live forever. But when I think about it, it actually was kind of scary knowing that I could never get out. Is that it's so counterintuitive in a way. So the fact that life ends actually feels better to me now, because I used to think I don't want to die, but then if you play out the opposite, geez, would I want to live like in this forever? That would I don't know, it sounds scary to me.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I suppose it depends on what kind of reality you're experiencing. Like if you're still experiencing a 3D negative reality where everything's negative, you have to die.
Yes.
I had to die. I had to kill my ego mind for me to move forwards and to enjoy life how I want to enjoy it.
Yes.
And to me, that is dying and being reborn.
Yes.
It's like the whole Matrix. It's like you're breaking out of a system.
Yeah, like
and then you're unplugging yourself, and you've got this whole new experience of life.
That's it, because death, I think, is it's fundamentally part of like it's just beginning and end. So when you're talking about like there's little rebirths, deaths and rebirths every day, even every week, because like you can say, because once our ideas have to die, otherwise we don't move on.
That's why you make every day count, because there's no guarantee of tomorrow.
Yes, exactly.
What happens today is up to you. But
imagine every day was guaranteed, right? And then you won't be working towards anything. You wouldn't feel like it actually scares me.
But then again, that's another societal thing. We're working towards something.
Yes.
That's a societal pattern. We have to work towards something.
Yes.
Why do we have to work towards something?
Well,
why can't we just be?
For me,
we have to, because we have to afford life.
Not even with money and stuff, but as my experience,
imagine if there was no money, for instance.
Yes.
And what we're doing today was all just projected out there, no money involved, no nothing. Be a completely different scenario.
But this is what I'm saying working towards. Like, I'm going to do another podcast tomorrow or something, or next week. I'm going to keep the podcasting. Yeah. So I'm working. I'm building up like a network of people, and there's potential I can talk to, even like just the possibility of more people to talk to. Yeah. That's what I'm working towards.
Yeah, of course,
and with the music, let's say, I know I have this other album coming out now, but I'm like, working towards the next album or whatever. But imagine, like, I could do that forever. I don't know if it would be as good. It
depends where you get to certain stages of your life, doesn't it?
That's what I mean, different stages. I'll be like, I don't want to do it.
To one point, and then you'll be like, oh, actually, no, I've got a new goal now.
Yes!
So you're constantly evolving.
Interesting.
You're constantly evolving. Do you know what I mean? It's same as me. I'll get to one point, like, after this, I'll be like, oh my God, that's my first ever podcast.
Yeah, what else could I do?
What else can I do?
Yes.
It's all, again, it boils back down to self-belief and everything else. You can't just have one goal.
Yes.
Because if you get to that goal, it's like, what do I do now?
Everyone should have a podcast, I think, personally.
Yeah.
Just even if, because you...
And my podcast is Instagram. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. But you're going to, like, you listen back to yourself on the videos.
Yeah.
Like, that's the same...
I need to start doing lives. That's what I need to do.
Yes, lives be good. Just so there's so much... But in terms of, like, if you're doing a podcast because you want to be the next Joe Rogan, like, do it because you actually enjoy conversation. If you do want to do it, right? And then do it because you can improve your own speech patterns. You can improve your ideas. So, and then... your friends, some people that will be interested in hearing our conversation, like that actually know us.
Yeah,
that's better than even like, let's say if someone didn't know us and they thought, what the fuck are these on about?
Yeah,
because people know us, it actually is cooler. So even if it's only a small little circle, it's just so cool. I think to be able to do this in this day and age, record yourself and just have these little ecosystems of
100%
conversation and
100%.
And learning from each other.
But again, I'm not saying you are, but again, we're looking at everyone else.
Yes.
Instead of looking at ourselves.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what anyone else says.
Yes.
Doesn't matter. Even if I walk away from this today and you'd be like, oh, he's in English. What's he going on about? He's chatting shit.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yes.
All I care is what I think.
Yes.
Even with my daughter, I love her to pieces, and she might think something completely different of me. But we have a love, we have a bond there, and that's all that matters.
Yes.
It's love. No matter what we say, no matter what we do, as long as there's love, that's generally all that matters.
So just on this point of being a parent, because it's such an honor to be kind of have this kind of responsibility for a being in the world, 100%. Let's say. And I just wonder, because you've already kind of touched on, trying to instill, if your child hopefully has faith in themselves, has belief in themselves. Yeah. So what are you thinking when you're raising a child? Because obviously we're all going to make mistakes as well, because we're just human or whatever.
100%. Do you know what? As much as I'm a dad, she has a dad. Yes. She has her other dads. That's her mum's husband, and she's got siblings with him.
Yes.
That is her dad.
Yes.
I'm a biological dad, but I'm just a friend. Like, he rears her. He's reared her since she was born.
Okay,
Do you know what I
yes.
mean? I come over here twice a month and stuff like that, and that's our relationship, and it's beautiful. But I love the fact that I had a really close relationship with my mum. She was like my best friend, and I have a similar relationship with my daughter. Do you know what I mean? We speak about things and we speak. I don't project anything onto her life.
Yes.
I just guide her along the right path of what she wants to do. And she's
Yes.
still only 12. Do you know what I mean? Like, when she gets to a teenager, if she wants to make decisions and do
Yes.
things like things that we don't want her to do.
I know.
It's like, well, I can't stop her from doing that.
Yes.
All I can be is be an awareness of myself and what I went through.
Yeah.
And if she wants to experience them, I'd rather experience them around me than against me and lie to me and do it with her friends. And then she's in a situation where me and her mum and her other dad have got to go and help her and save her.
Yes. Yes. Trying to create
I'd rather have that safe. End of the day, she's got her own life.
Yes.
I can't force a life onto her. She has her own decisions, her own life to make.
Yes.
And that's one thing that I realised on my journey is my life is my life, her life is her life, your life is your life.
Yes.
And whoever else we meet, their life is their life.
Yes.
So whatever she chooses to do in her life, all I can do is support her and guide her.
Because there is this tendency to sort of project, like, the reputation of you. Some people's, like, parental reputation, let's say, they tie it up in what the child is doing or how the child is doing, instead of the way you describe it, is like her life is her life.
Exactly.
No matter what.
Exactly.
Like, it's nothing to do with you.
No.
It might have something to do with you and the other two, but not really though.
No.
Because it's actually.
She isn't me, she isn't her mum, she isn't her other dad, she is her person, she's her own individual.
Yes, so all you can do really
is support them and guide them.
Support and guide.
And love them.
Yes. And just always know
no matter what they do, no matter what happens.
No, exactly, yeah. Because this is another.
That's how they learn and how they grow. It's how they experience life.
This is a beautiful thing I realised, right? Like, there's nothing, if whatever is in my power that I could do for my brother and sister, I would do it, right? I know I would, and there's nothing. I would move heaven and earth for them too, right? And I've realised that if you live a life and there's like the fact that I have people in my life that I would do anything for. That makes my life actually more worth living in a way, because it makes me realise that, like, having that possibility of I will do anything for these people.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have that in your life, then what's the fucking point of living? Let's say if there's no one in this world that you would do anything for.
Yeah.
Then what? I don't know. It gives when I realise this more and more, it gives my life more meaning and more power.
That's where you're in self-realisation, because you do it for yourself.
Yes, exactly.
If you do it for yourself, if you say like you do it for them, it's because again you see yourself in them. So you're not doing it just for them; you're doing it for yourself.
Yes, and because I would hate them to be in any sort of stress or worry about anything that I can help with, especially anything I can help with, and it's just beautiful to realise that, and to realise, like, because we all know what it's like to be stressed or worried or anxious or in trouble, and just be like, oh, if I can help alleviate that, that's gonna make me feel just great knowing that in a way. In the same 100%. Way that I hope I inspire people, because the way I've been inspired, it's funny. I just keep learning more and more, the more I delve into these topics.
We're always learning.
But just because being a parent is such a. Well, not that I don't want to have any experience really, but it's such a privilege, such an honour. I imagine, like it when you take it that serious, when you realise like you can be a guide and a support system for this entity in the world, and so I hope you continue on this path, and I hope to see sort of.
There's no going back.
There's no going back.
Once you've gone down the path, the pathless path. There is no going back.
Yes.
You'll get things that come into your life that try and draw you back, but it won't happen.
Yes.
Because you've seen another dimension.
Exactly.
You've already experienced that in little aspects.
Yes.
And it's stepping into that fully. You know it's there.
Exactly.
So you're going on a pathless path to.
It's over then.
Love.
It's weird, yes. And once you have certain realizations, it fundamentally changes your reality forever.
100%.
And that's it.
100%.
Yeah.
Honestly, like all we ever have is today.
Yes.
And that's the truth. We can plan for the future. But as we know, we could plan for something tomorrow and something could change.
Yes, exactly. Everything, you just have to set up your life to make it as sort of stable as it can be, let's say.
Exactly. Enjoy every moment.
And enjoy every moment. But the storm, it's coming, unfortunately.
We all have storms.
Yes.
But we have to remember, it's just a storm.
It's just
at the end of the storm, the light will always shine.
Exactly. And we're just coming out of the winter, so...
Exactly. we're all experiencing the growth of the planet.
Yes.
I mean, as we're stepping out of winter and it's getting lighter, the days are getting longer, our vibrations and our energy are rising as well.
Yes.
Along with you see plants and flowers started springing
Yes.
and springing out the ground as we are. Because we're feeling more energized within ourselves.
Yes, there's an actual reality.
You feel the energy with the planet. We don't realise that.
Exactly, yes. And when we go back into, like, there's actual physical phenomenon, like the seasons. That? And sorry,
can we pause it?
Yes.
I'm busting for this.
Oh, please. We're back after a quick little hiatus. Who knows how much time has passed? Could be years, could be months.
Time is linear.
Yes.
It's not existent.
But so just in terms of your path forward now, like, so, because we didn't even get into, like, you're still a barber actually.
Part-time, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're still doing that, and then you've pursued. I think you did a course in.
I did a course in teaching meditation. I've done a course in teaching breathwork, and I've done a spiritual life coach course.
Interesting. So you're well. How did you go about finding these courses?
Again, my higher self.
Yes.
It was my higher self led me to meditation and.
Just blows me away and hits
I
I
never learned any of it. Do you know what I mean? It was like my higher self told me to do all these breathing exercises when I was sitting in meditation for me to release my feelings and my emotions. And then when I stepped into learning to teach it, because it was like a path, another path for me to teach it and obviously help other people with their mental health.
Yes.
When I read about it and learned about it, it's like, fucking hell, I'm doing all this stuff and it's written down right now. I never even knew it.
Interesting.
So it's so surreal to come around that. And that's where it comes back down to holding space.
Oh yes, holding space.
We are constantly holding space. Even this conversation now, we're holding space. You're holding space for me. I'm holding space for you.
I forgot that this is what.
It's a circle. It's a circle of trust.
So what does holding space mean? Because I noticed your name changed to holding space.
Yeah. So basically, that's going to be when I get my insurance and stuff, because we have to have certificates and insurance.
Yes, of course.
Nowadays, do you know what I mean? That would be the brand. It's holding space.
Holding space.
This again, it boils back down to the Metatron. Metatron's cube is circles. You know, we have circles of trust, and it's being able to let people step into their own circle of trust and hold space for themselves, while you're holding space for them. So when I'm holding space. For you, say like if you were to come to one of my sessions, I'm holding space for you.
Interesting.
For you to release whatever you need to release and speak about whatever you need to release, and you're holding space for me. For me, you're trusting me to step into your personal feelings and emotions, and trusting me to help you in releasing your own energies. Because
I thought when I was saying holding space, I was like, oh, it's like a place where, imagine you were gonna move in and like I was holding space for you over on the couch or something. Or
we're always holding space. Any conversation we have, we're holding space. When you think about it.
Yeah, when you think about it. It's
we put it down as a conversation, but actually we're holding space.
Yes.
You're listening to someone else, so you're holding space for them.
Holding space for you.
They're listening to you, so they're holding space for you.
So it's like this dance of holding space for each other.
Exactly.
And then creating the space for, I suppose, holding space well, and it's like opens up potential for the space to be exactly. It can be filled with anything.
Coffee shops.
Yes. Exactly.
Holistic coffee shops are holding space.
Yes.
That's another vision. It's a holistic coffee shop health centre where people can go and get a coffee, no phones, no internet. People actually talk and engage with each other. You'll have little areas, like a little breathing area, a little meditation area, a little yoga area, a little area where people can just sit in a little block on their own, completely blacked out, and just release whatever they need to release. I've had this,
because apparently, so when I look at pubs and I think, oh, look how great it is to be around people in a pub and everyone's having a crack, but in a coffee shop it's not really like that. It's like everyone's already on their own.
Because people's confidence comes out when they've had a sip of drink.
Yes.
Because they don't know who they are.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. The alcohol like lets, or maybe. But I'd love to create the pub environment without the pub.
I was the same. I wouldn't be able to have this conversation unless I drink.
Yes.
3 years ago.
Interesting.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's confidence. Because I'm worried about what you think of me and vice versa.
Yes, everything.
Whereas now I don't give a shit.
Or like when you're drunk, because I don't know if we didn't talk about alcohol actually.
No, I didn't.
Because we've come. How did we not? Like, we've both been topped up.
Coffee and water.
No, because we're both currently we've come through that path in a way, because alcohol is it can be just a destructive force, I think, or a force that people use to escape.
100%. I mean, you look at, I mean, anywhere you go in the world, you see junkies out on the road.
Yes.
Where's it stem from? Alcohol.
Yes.
That was their first point was alcohol.
Mm.
And as they've stepped into more and more depth of their darkness, they're looking for something else.
Yes.
To move away their darkness or to block that darkness, because again, we fear dealing with it. We fear our own feelings and emotions.
Yes.
And that's just how society has made us.
Exactly. And so alcohol, unfortunately, it's so ubiquitous. It's such an accepted form of substance that everyone is like, sure, have a drink, celebrate with a drink.
Even like a long day at work. You could have a long, stressful day at work. You'll get home and say, fancy a pint.
Fancy a pint.
Fancy a bottle.
That's how you let loose.
Instead of sitting there and sitting to yourself and thinking about the day and thinking about how it's made you stressful and releasing that feeling and emotion and being awareness of it in yourself, we tap into a bottle instead.
Yes, and we block that.
Yeah.
In a way. We suppress it.
Exactly.
We don't actually...
We try and find the joy
through
a substance.
Yes, and it's not... It's just not... And then the pain...
We're actually disconnecting ourselves from ourselves.
Yes, and it's so interesting how alcohol and hangovers and the fear, it's just such a... It seems very sinister. I know, I've had great times with alcohol. I'm not going to lie. I'm not anti-alcohol in a way. For my own personal growth as I move forward in the world, it's slowing me down, or it was slowing me down.
I'm not anti-alcohol. But again, as I said, it led me to hitting rock bottom. Because
I've no self-control with really any sort of psychedelics. I've gone very heavy. I'm like, don't want to do too many now. Other substances, especially alcohol. I'm always having cans there. I'm making sure I have enough for the night. It was always like, and then I'd be more, and I black out. I nearly black out every single time when I was drinking, and then it just gets to the point where it just became a hindrance for me. And for my goals. And when you wake up and it takes you like a week to get back on the hamster wheel.
And you're back on it again.
Yeah, then you're back on.
Because you feel alive. It's like, I can go back out this weekend.
I know, who's going to do this?
Yeah.
But you can have...
But again, you're running away from the week that we've just had.
Yes.
We don't think about it.
Exactly.
We don't feel it.
No. And we're just afraid to feel it in a way where we don't even know. But
it's not just alcohol.
Yes.
There's a lot of other things, even just TV, junk food, everything is. Again, another thing, if it isn't alcohol, we're sit on TV and watch a binge watch a series or a film, again, to block out our day.
100%.
Or the stress or the anxiety or the depression that it's given us.
Yes. I have
we all know, everyone's their own guru. We all know what we need to do. But again, it's fearing it.
Yes.
We know what we need to do, and we know our higher self and our bodies will tell us what to do, and we know what's right to do, but we stay stagnant.
Yes.
We're saying that cycle.
Yeah, for me, there's a weird cycle.
Because we don't believe in ourselves.
There's when I feel down or stressed, I'll go to food. Food is my thing now, and it's hard for me to... it's hard to shake that habit.
I think that's your body telling you that you need to just chill out, rest, and just eat junk. I did it the same. I had 3 weeks of... I had no junk food. I was eating really well. I was hitting the gym 4 times a week. And then Thursday and Friday, I was at a low vibration. And it's my body was telling me just to rest, get a takeaway, enjoy yourself. And then now I'm back onto my road.
Yes, you can't be too...
No, you can't.
Yes, you need to give yourself a little leeway.
Your body has the answers.
Yes.
We look for answers outside of us. Our answers are always in here, and we forget that. I mean, I'm probably in the best shape I've been in since I was 12.
Brilliant.
But I haven't followed a pattern. I haven't followed a regimen. I've just listened to myself. I've listened to my body. My body's told me when to rest and when to go.
Yes, if you just listen to what you need. Like, I know when I have an exercise now, I just don't feel I'm not on it as much in a way. Or if I'm eating too much sluggish food. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or I'm just feeling like I'm not when I exercise on a good routine, I feel like I'm living my body. I'm just better in my body.
But it's the same as it's going back to being told what to do.
Yes.
When you're being told by a PT, you've got to be regimented, you've got to have this diet and everything else. That's why we give up. Because it's so regimental and so clinical We don't take time to ourselves just to relax.
Yes.
Just to be ourselves, just to be with ourselves.
Yes.
And just space.
And
no TV, no nothing, just space.
When you realise, now exercise. So when people are when you don't know anything about exercise, I think PTs are good in terms of
100%.
showing you the path, showing 100%. You all these things. But what you're alluding to there is that when you become like, oh, I'm not doing the exact same thing, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
But exercise is exercise. I'm not trying to be the next
none of us
big exercise fiend. So all I need to do is move my body in particular movements. I don't get too into it, right?
I say our body's our temple. It holds our soul.
Exactly.
It's up for us to look after it.
So it's not like you need to do 12 sets of this or 12 sets of that. You just need to exercise.
I said, like, I used to, you know what? I used to only go to the gym when I had a holiday booked. That was my pattern.
Oh, interesting.
I'll get to a certain point, I give up. So I've been out of gym for years. I've been trying. I don't feel like I need to go on holiday. And my mind's always away.
Yes.
My mind's always out in space. I've been training fully now for just over a year.
Brilliant.
But I've had times where I've only been once a week.
Yes.
Or I've been a 5 weeks where I didn't train at all. So again, because I've listened to myself and then I've got back into it.
Yes.
When we're so regimental with ourselves and we force ourselves to do something, we break.
Yes.
And then we give up.
That's what me with food. I am pretty regimented with it, and then when I break, then I let it all spills out, and then suddenly I'm just eating terrible food or whatever it might be. So that's the final thing. I need to get to a good place with my with just I need to just, instead of reaching for the takeaway, just do the meal, just cook something.
Again, it's loving. Like now, if I fancy an evening of eating shit, I'll buy healthy shit.
Yes.
Like I won't get a takeaway pizza. I'll go and buy a sourdough pizza.
Yes.
And I might buy a couple of protein chocolate bars and healthy crisps instead of proper shit.
Because decisions. Like,
even that healthy shit still makes you feel good.
Yes, and exactly, because you're satiating hunger at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So if you can,
with feelings and emotions.
Yes. So when you're making a decision for what you're going to eat, there's better decisions than others. Even if you're going to go off the rails, you don't have to go to Pizza Mountain or whatever.
No, exactly.
You can even like a chicken curry and fried rice. Like, that's pretty good for me.
Yeah.
And I love it as well. And then throw in some chips as well.
So mine's ice cream.
Yeah.
I fucking love ice cream. No matter how cold it is outside, I love ice cream.
Oh yeah.
But now they do healthy ice creams.
Yes.
So I buy the healthy ice cream.
Exactly. So it's just a choice.
So I'm still taking away that feeling and emotion that I'm missing, but I'm replacing it with something positive.
Yes. So you just swap in.
Replace the negatives and positives.
Yes.
We're like batteries.
Yes.
Energy. We have negatives and positives, and it's how we differentiate that negative to a positive.
Yes, because you can make it when I'm feeling, oh, I'm gonna go off the rails now with food. Like the decisions we make, because at the end of the day, after the meal, I'm gonna feel not hungry. And I won't be able to eat anymore. But like, there's loads of paths to that point.
Of course.
In a way, and paths where I'll hate myself more. Or you'll just be in it. Sometimes you just eat yourself into it. Food and me, like, I don't have many vices, but like food, like.
But again, I think that's another thing where people fail, because I mean, I did it myself. I used to follow all these influencers that have got like the next top bodies and stuff like that, and you'd be like, oh, I want to be like that. I want to have that kind of. I want to look like that.
Yes.
But because we're constantly looking at it, we start disbelieving ourselves.
Yes.
Then it's like, then we don't do it.
Yes.
So that's why if anything in social media now, I don't follow any kind of influencer. I just follow what aligns with myself, and that's spirituality and mental health.
Yes. You, especially with your social media feed, you have to.
Yeah.
Just anything you're looking at, and it's like, why am I looking at? Just unfollow or mute or whatever you need to do.
Because that will just put you into a depression.
Or
anxiety.
It's insane what we subject ourselves to. It's our own. We're doing it.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, look.
That's what I'm saying. We know what we need to do.
Yes. Just get rid of. Stop looking at it.
Yeah.
It's like, but with just with diet, with exercise, all these things, what I'm aiming at is a better feeling in myself. So I'll be able to operate better in the world, feel better, and get better. If you're ticking all the little boxes, like you're eating okay, you're exercising a bit, your sleep's in check, your life is fucking amazing.
But that's where we forget how connected our whole system is.
Yes, it's holistic.
What we put in our bodies is putting in our minds.
Yes.
So we're eating healthy, we think healthy. If we eat shit, we think shit.
Yes.
And that's generally the truth.
That is the truth. I found anyway.
I did.
Yes.
I've been eating healthy for a year, and I feel so much better with my mind.
Yes.
If it's more creative, do you know what I mean? I'm thinking of different visions and everything else. But again, we can still be that healthy person, but we can still get distracted by TV
Yes. Exactly.
and news and everything else because it's negative.
News and everything, and there's so much Like,
So much
I had a
distractions.
friend who they got caught up in like Trump and the stealing of the election, and
Yeah.
like regardless of what you think about it, right? It
Mhm.
was just not worth putting time into and like keeping up to date on everything. It's like that's nothing to do with your life. There's so much stuff that we're concentrating on. Even people that get caught up in I don't know what it's like to be real.
But that's what they want. They want us to be concentrated on what they're all doing than what we're doing with our own lives.
Yes.
That's how we base our life. We
But
base our life on governments and everything else.
It's all there's loads of distraction from your everyday life.
Yeah.
And it's just about trying to realise what's actually a distraction and what
Self-awareness.
Awareness, I think, is the key. So what we'll start landing the ship a little bit now. But just with meditation.
Yeah.
If someone's out there now and they're listening and they think, okay, I want to build what this guy's having and he's talking about meditation. Like, how do you get into meditation?
For me, I started with guided meditation, but again, it can be so clinical. So even when I look at other meditation guys and stuff like that, it's always the same thing.
Yeah.
And for me, what worked for me personally was stepping into my own kind of meditation, my own self, was listening to music that I love. Like old school rock and roll, not listening to binaural beats. Binaural beats help, but someone trying to guide you and tell you to imagine yourself in a beach on a tropical country ain't going to work for your feelings and emotions.
Yes.
People want someone to tell their feelings and emotions to fuck off.
Interesting.
That's how I work with myself. I sat there with myself, and if a negative thought came over, I just tell it to fuck off. My negative thoughts don't define me.
Yes.
I'm always in control. But I listen to positive, high vibrational music that resonates with my soul. And that's either 80s rock and roll or house music.
Oh, brilliant.
Because it lifts me up.
Yes.
From the inside out. I don't feel depleted and stuck by listening to a wave of music that can actually be quite negative sometimes. Because if you don't know it, you've never heard it, and your brain's not used to it,
yes,
you can fall into darkness just from them brainwaves.
100%.
Because I've done it.
Yes.
I've listened to dark, deep, binaural beats that's linked with my chakras, and the next day or after my meditation, I felt a bit like, oh, I don't feel great. Like I've got to deal with this.
Oh, interesting.
So when I started listening to more high vibrational music that resonate with my soul, again, I listen to everything. I don't have a specific taste, but I know certain songs that will lift me up.
Yes.
And I will listen to that first before I sit into meditation.
Brilliant.
Because then I'm already in a positive mindset.
Yes.
To take over my negativity.
So
if I go into a meditation feeling negative,
yes,
it's hard to remove that negative.
Exactly.
It really is.
So you're touching on something that's very powerful, is that, let's say, if you control your state, you control your thoughts and you control the outcome. So, for example, if you're feeling like real negative about a particular thing, if you went on a run and came back, your thoughts would be different about it because your state is different. Or if you have a cold shower, or if you listen to a song that you really like and let yourself get into it, your state has changed now.
But for me, if you have a negative situation that comes into you, 9 times out of 10 we try and run away from it. Whereas now I know I can deal with my thoughts, because thoughts are just thoughts. They can't hurt us.
Yes.
That's the only thing that actually can hurt us is by thinking about it.
Yes, and feeding
we have to find the feeling, the emotion behind that thought. So if you've got no matter what the negative or positive, whatever it is, positives we always keep there because that's your higher self. Negative is your ego mind. So when that comes through, best thing to do is just sit there, think about what you're thinking about, and think to yourself, why am I feeling like this? Where is this feeling and emotion coming from? Because 9 times out of 10, it could be something from the past that we haven't released.
Yes.
A past feeling, emotion, or experience that has made us feel like that again for 100%. Us to deal with again. Like I went through, before spring equinox, I went through 2 weeks of dealing with old energies that I'd released, but not because I hadn't released them. Again, it was a reminder of my journey and my growth.
Yes.
So it's always sitting there with yourself and finding the feeling and emotion behind that thought.
Yes.
And then releasing the feeling and the emotion. Not the thought, the feeling and the emotion, because that's what we store. Thoughts are just our ego mind projecting the inner voice. Again, back to the inner voice. We all have an inner voice. When it's with love and compassion, that's your higher self. When it's negative and whatever, that's your ego mind inner voice trying to throw you off course and keep you somewhere, because we're kept in a negative concept.
Yes.
If we were constantly just showing positivity and the world was love, we wouldn't have negative thoughts.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So it's just...
That's so interesting.
It's breaking away from the system. Yeah, it's generally what it is.
Yes. Or whatever your environment.
And from your own system, yeah.
Yes, for your own stuff.
Exactly.
And just taking back the wheel. Just like, I'm taking
I think
control
meditation is so portrayed as like, we have to sit there like in a perfect position. No, you don't. You can sit there however you want, lay there however you want. You don't have to sit there with your hands on your knees in the lotus position and be like, because that's bullshit. That's just, again, that's stories from the past.
Yes.
They're just they're guides for us to find ourselves.
You can do walking meditation. You can meditate anytime.
Sex is meditation.
Yes.
When it's fully connected
When it's fully
and soulful connected, that is a part of meditation.
Mindfulness, like being aware of your mind, being aware right now that there's sensations of me and my feet on the ground and my back on the chair and my face. There's something that feels like I have a face and my hands are touching this. What does a pen feel like?
Yeah, exactly.
What's sound? And
exactly.
There's all this stuff.
Exactly. Like I was sitting there the other day and it just came into my head. It's like, where has language actually come from? Why does this word mean that? And why does that that word mean that? And I was sitting there thinking like, why does fuck mean fuck? Imagine if fuck actually meant hello. Fuck.
Yeah, fuck.
Fuck you.
Fuck you, yes.
But it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Where's that come from?
I know. It's interesting how certain words, like, so you might say that words, any word could mean anything, let's say.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't fuck the same as table? But for some reason, so certain things in our reality shape our human experience. Like sound is a physical phenomenon, right?
Music is actually the closest point to stillness.
Yes.
Because when we listen to music, depends on who you are. I think before I just used to listen to it, but now I hear it. I hear the words. I have so many different albums that I've created that link to my inner being.
Yes.
Because they remind me of certain things or anything else. And it's music, when you tune into the words and not your thought, you're completely thoughtless.
Yes.
Because it's meditation. You're sitting there listening to the music. You're listening to the words, or you're listening to the beat.
Yes.
You're not listening to the thoughts that's going on in your head.
When you're really listening.
Yeah.
And music is, it's a real phenomenon. It's based in the real world, and I think with music especially, I've heard this. It's a representation of oneness. Let's say.
Yeah.
Because all the pieces of the music are actually aiming. They can't be the one thing. Like the voice, the guitar, the bass, they can't be the one on their own, but they can only be the one
100%
together.
Like you can listen to really hardcore music,
yes,
like screaming, but if you actually listen to the words, that's just their projection of love.
Yes,
because you'd actually listen to the words. Like I listened to a Slipknot song the other day, and again, it's all about the I am syllabus.
Yes,
no, not Slipknot, sorry, Vendetta Love.
Okay.
What's his name? Malachi, no. Yeah, anyway.
Vendetta Love, were they playing?
Yes.
You went to see them that night, did you?
Yeah, my head's just gone completely blank. But they're actually performing with Airborne. Airborne is like a really cool band. They're like the new AC/DC.
Yeah.
But they've done a song called, it's quite dark, but they've done a song called I Am. And again, it's based about the inner knowing of yourself and your being. No matter how we dress, what music we like, or anything else. Again, everything, as you said, is one and connected, no matter what individual person that we are.
No way you come at it, in a way.
Exactly.
And I think that is probably a good place to end.
Yeah.
If there's anything else that you'd want to mention before we close shop here.
Just, do you know what? No matter what life throws at you, hold space for yourself. Yeah. Always listen to yourself, listen to your heart, and listen to your body, because that's where all the answers are.
Yes.
So holding space, build a better relationship with yourself in order for you to build a better relationship with others. Because love is always the answer.
Yes. Love is the answer. I don't think we can hit a higher note than that.
No.
But yes, we'll get the links for Daniel Freeman, holding space. Now I understand the concept.
Exactly.
I knew this was going to be good, but Jesus, certain people bring certain things out of you, and
of course,
I love the spiritual dimension, and I love exploring that. So you've been a great partner.
That's where we forget that we are the spiritual dimension.
Yes.
The spirit the Holy Spirit, the Spirit. That's you.
Yes.
Spirituality is just a connection of everything.
Yes. But it's so funny because different people bring, like when you're with your daughter, you're that version with your daughter.
Yeah, yeah.
Like every single person you meet, you will create, like we've created a new entity together that only exists when we're together.
Yeah, I used to, but now I don't. Now I'm just me.
Yes, exactly.
No matter who I'm with, I'm me.
Yes, I'm me as well. But certain, like, let's say with certain people, I'll talk about certain things.
Yeah. I know
they'll bring certain parts of the you out.
Yeah.
But
depends on their conversations and what.
Yes,
they
exactly.
about.
Their conversation. Some people might want to talk about cars.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't.
I find myself now. I'll reply in the way that I speak about spirituality.
Oh, so you're gonna bring it back?
No, not like that. But again, like my daughter asked me something the other day. It wasn't anything to do with. It's just inner knowing and inner wisdom. It's a replying with a positive aspect instead of a negative aspect. So they constantly see a positive instead of a negative.
Okay.
That's how I reply to conversations. It's through positivity.
But it just allowed me to kind of it just allows me to look at this world and delve into it a bit more. So I appreciate you coming out.
Grateful.
All the way to Scaries.
I'm grateful.
And I'm grateful as well. And we will catch you in the next one.
Yo.